to Keefer's Corner. This will be week 5, coming off a big win against Ellsworth in week 4. I'm Jeremy Nygaard. This is Coach Keefer. Coach, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
I feel like had things not went so well Friday night, the answer to that question might have been a little bit different.
That's probably correct. That's safe to say.
Let's revisit that game from the beginning. They win the toss, they defer, we take the ball. We on the first series, we don't even attempt to pass. 8 plays, turnover on downs. Ellsworth gets the ball. I think it's 3 and out. And then the floodgates opened up. And we have Cal touchdown to Gavin down the sideline, 7-0. I think, that was like, okay, here we go, 7-0. This is going to be a good, close game. And then it wasn't. And it wasn't in a hurry. So take me through kind of the sidelines for the first quarter and a half, which really set, the game was over.
Well, yeah, we were hopeful that we were going to be able to run the ball and wanted to try to establish the run. And we did run the ball pretty effectively most of the night, but did get stopped. And then our second possession, that was a pretty heck of a throw and catch. And our protection was great. And, Cal Smith has a huge arm. And
right here,
it was perfect. And Gavin can run, and that is a play that you don't see like on high school fields that often. Something that, just really nice football. And then we came back our next possession. I think we got another. Was this second one to Colton?
Yes, on the
Colton Hush. Yeah, we kind of had a little matchup thing. We thought we could get there, and
another good ball.
Yeah, that worked out. Cal threw a really nice ball, and Colton did that was good. And then I think we turned him over, which was a big deal. I thought our defense was really.
They turned the ball over.
Obviously our defense played a great game.
Yes.
Ellsworth beat Edgar, and Edgar's a really good. That's a good team. That's a good program. Edgar stomped Stratford.
Right.
And I kind of just have the sense that as that game went on, I think the wheels just kind of came off a bit for Ellsworth. I don't think that's typical for what they're going to be.
Right.
But we did get it rolling, and we just kept striking them.
Right.
And we just couldn't really. They couldn't answer, and we just kept getting the big plays.
Right. So it was Cal to Gavin, Cal to Colton, Cal to Colin in the first quarter.
Yeah. Yep.
Cal to Graydon, who I thought made 2 of the best catches.
He made great catches
you might ever see in a high school game for touchdowns. So those 4, and then Cal run before the half.
Yeah.
5-0. And then Cal to Graydon, and then Graydon to Everts.
Yeah.
7 touchdowns. You mentioned the defense, pitched a shutout, 74 total yards. I think it was 4 forced turnovers and the special teams turnover. So 5 total.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't think that's Ellsworth, but part of playing football is how you deal with adversity.
True.
And they had it, and the wheels went. It went the wrong direction.
It did. It went.
And we had some, the punt that the guy drops, and it comes right to Grady.
Yeah.
We didn't have.
We got a couple breaks, but we were pretty clean.
And didn't have a procedural penalty.
Right.
Had some holds. But this is kind of the stuff that I wondered coming into the game, how mentally, physically I thought we were superior. Mentally, we've struggled with Ellsworth, and how is that going to impact us? And it was about 3 minutes into the game, and I'm like, okay, this is.
Well, I think our guys are, it's a mature group, and they've worked hard. It's not a product of like 1 week of practice.
Right.
It's a product of you have an outstanding senior class, and I just did a thing today. I was looking at their GPAs. Our GPA, we have 13 seniors. The GPA, if you average them, is 3.37 something, which is spectacular. It really is. That's part of why we're very successful. We have a lot of smart kids,
right.
And these kids have worked hard. It's not just like, hey, they showed up this fall and that's when they got good. They've been doing things they do things the right way, both on the field and in school, and I think it's really I really enjoy working with these guys. They're fun. I feel privileged to get to work with those guys. They're really good kids, and that helps us a lot because they understand and it's important to them, and they've really put in the work, through other sports and through lifting and doing things like that.
Right. So. Last thing I want to say about the offense, obviously 49 points against a good football team is impressive. But I watched a lot of football this weekend, from Friday night to Saturday night to all day Sunday. The one thing that sticks out to me in retrospect is our receivers don't drop hardly any footballs. Our defensive backs don't drop hardly any footballs. I watched football on Saturday at a higher level and watch guys drop catchable passes. And I watch football on Sunday and watch guys catch droppable passes. Typically Friday nights, you see a lot of guys, because they're not Saturday players, they're not Sunday players, dropping passes. And as I'm thinking about Friday night, it's not just, the first one to Gavin was right there.
Perfect.
Gavin dropped the one across the middle, but Graydon's catches are not typical Friday night catches. Colton Hush is on the sideline. He had to adjust. How are these issues? And I knock on wood, these aren't going to become issues.
Right.
But how are these guys so good at catching the ball?
I think they're good athletes. I also think there's something to it, like when you're catching it, you just keep catching it. You stay hot. There's. I think it's the same. You could make a parallel with basketball free throws. When you're making your free throws, you keep making your free throws. When you're not, you're not. I feel like we're just, we're catching the ball right now. And at some point we're going to drop the ball, and hopefully, we just, go back. One of the things that we really try to do is we talk about what do you think about, what do you run through your mind, to be successful. And, whatever things go through your brain is your self-talk. And you don't always control everything that goes through your mind, but you can to a certain extent do it. So thinking about, cues, positive things, can be helpful to athletes, and not thinking don't drop the ball.
Right.
You think, hey, I'm going to look it all the way in, just little things like that, maybe a mental approach can help a little bit, but those kids are just good athletes, and they get good hand-eye, and they're confident, and they're, it's just, the balls are pretty darn catchable. There haven't been a lot of them that are, he's throwing it out in the spot, and they're catching the ball. It's not like, a lot of those drops that you see are, Cal's been amazing.
But the other thing, too, is Cal also doesn't throw a gentle pass.
He threw that one a bubble to Colin Fritz. I swear if they shot the gun, that thing might have been 90. It's like, are you trying to knock his hands off, Cal? He just has such a big arm. And it's fun, though, because he can really, he surprises kids.
Yeah. Because
they don't expect, you're going against a normal high school quarterback. You don't have to go that far back.
Right. But when you have Jackson Johansson then catching the interception, that ball was...
That was unbelievable.
That was a laser.
But also, I stopped it. It's just we just watched it. In fact, after school today, as we were going through some of our corrections from Friday's game, and it's just what an amazingly athletic play. Right. He just bent back and snatched it out of the.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. You have all these guys making these catches and part of me is thinking, well, 10 years ago, if we threw the ball 20 times a game, that was a ton.
Yeah.
If we had 10 completions, that was a ton.
Yeah.
But you're doing this on Friday nights, but you're doing it all through the week.
Yeah.
These guys are catching passes.
They catch. We throw so much more now in practice than we did, back in the.
I was there. We didn't throw a ton.
Ninneman, Lunzer, the DeMott's era. Those guys were super talented, and they would love doing this stuff.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that.
But is there anybody that wouldn't love doing this stuff?
Well, maybe there's somebody. There's still not everybody does this offense.
Even Jason Sell is coming around and throwing the ball a little bit.
No, he's warming up to it now, isn't he? A little bit.
Okay, so offensively, we've been phenomenal through 4 games. But the story Friday night after the game, we were great offensively. But how good were we defensively?
That was just a spectacular effort. Our kids just got better. I thought Dylan Vienendahl made a huge jump. He's a very talented, strong, good-looking football player, and he just started to it kind of clicked. It started clicking. Ben Peavy again is playing really, really well in the D line, as is Noah Sarar, as is Colin Fritz. I mean, those guys are all really playing at a high level. You saw Jackson, make that athletic interception, but he's very quick to the ball, and I thought Graydon Monacan really played well too. I mean, he's coming along. I mean, he's really starting to. His growth at free safety is pretty obvious too. And I thought Gavin by far played his best game defensively. Yep. When there was, he needs to be better. I mean, he's a really talented kid, and he's got room to improve.
Right.
But I thought Gavin played well. I thought Brighton had a nice game too.
Guys showing up.
Yeah, and our corners are good. Ryan Vienendahl. I mean, he just
runs really good,
and he's such a good tackler. And he also, that interception was terrific, and
right.
The first one, it just really, guys are just pumped. And, you got to respect Ellsworth. I mean, 21 game winning streak, that's pretty impressive. That's a difficult thing to do.
Right.
But, wasn't, I think it was 2 years ago, they put it on us pretty good.
Right.
So, it was good.
Yeah, I said after the game, if I would have been given 100 chances to guess the score of the game,
mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have got close at 100.
Yeah.
I mean, 49-0. If someone would have told you that Friday morning, you would have pinched yourself and said, "No."
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I would have said, but I did think we were going to score points. I didn't think we were going to shut them out. I certainly didn't think we were going to hold them to 70 whatever yards it was. That was pretty amazing.
And special teams look great.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, Gus has been fantastic with his kicking, and I told him a couple weeks ago, "Hey, we're going to start a streak, and you're going to make a bunch of them now."
Yep.
And we're getting better. Alec Boyer, who was voted the special teams player, his snaps were better. Our rhythm's getting better, and it just comes with time.
5 for 5 extra points.
Yeah.
You did trot him out for a 49-yarder right before half.
Wasn't he 7 for 7 on extra points?
Yeah, my math is terrible.
You're good. But I thought it was a good time for us to give him a shot at a long one.
Yep.
He's made 47-yarders multiple times by a lot. And I was just like, hey, what the heck? It's a game situation. Then I took another timeout because I was like, hey, right, if this doesn't get in the end zone, we're going to have to go cover it. That's not something that I had prepared the guys for because, you usually not going to try a field goal like that. But under the circumstances, we better make sure they know they got to cover in case he doesn't get it. But he kicked it in the end zone. He didn't hit the ball like he could have.
Right.
But it was okay. And then the other thing was I wanted really good protection because you don't want to have them block one and scoop and score. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Right.
So there was a little trepidation, but I wanted to give Gus the chance. He didn't hit that one, but he's going to hit some big ones before it's done.
Yep. So you said Boyer was the special teams player of the game?
Yeah, Alec Boyer. Yep.
How about the others?
The offensive player of the game goes to Graydon Monacan, who will probably never forget the game that he caught 2 great passes, and then he threw a great pass to Brody Everts. And, like I said, he's improving. And it's so much fun to be around these guys because they got such good energy and good juice at practice. Graydon is a guy that he really likes football. I mean, they like each other. And, and you got some competitive people. I've mentioned, I know several times about Colton Hush's competitive drive. Well, Graydon's right there with them. And those guys, they just have fun and they feed off each other, and it's just a good time.
Yeah, 6 different guys or 5 guys.
Yeah, 5 receivers catching
touchdown.
5 different receivers. That doesn't happen very often.
No. Well, and I looked today at the record book because I'm like, I wonder how many times we've had a guy throw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. And
in the history of the school, Cal's done it twice. That's it.
No kidding.
So I thought there was time before, but it was 4.
Wow.
So I mean, there's never been 6 touchdown passes thrown in a game until Friday. And I mean, Mason, there's a lot like our single game passing records. It's a lot of Mason and a lot of Cal. And then, I think there's a Dylan in there.
Oh, sure.
And the Logan and Kimberly in there. But
right.
for the most part, the passing records have just they're being rewritten, which is super fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, watching other teams try to play this offense. Well, I watched a team on Saturday play a very similar offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's more fun to watch. So I imagine it's more fun to play, and the numbers, I assume, will reflect that, because when you have success, more kids want to be part of it.
We sure hope so. It is fun. And I think another thing that helps us is we practice fast and we get more done, I think, in a shorter amount of time. And and maybe there's something to do with why kids catching the balls. They're catching more balls than they ever have.
Right.
And we do competitive stuff. It's not like just standing there playing catch. They're not just running routes on air. They're competing, and they have to, so it's good stuff.
Did we get to the defensive player of the game?
We did not mention the defensive player of the game. There were several nominees. Ben Peavy got voted by his teammates. Jackson, of course, had a great game. Graydon was another guy that was, under strong consideration. And, I just really, I was very, very happy because we just made we just cleaned up a lot of mistakes. Like, we've had, games where it's like, we have a laundry list of things that we really got to get better at. And, after this one, that list is still there, and believe me, we still got stuff to get better at. But that list is getting shorter, and we're getting better at things that we were screwing up not too long ago.
So how high on your laundry list of things to fix is guys need to figure out how to wear their pants correctly?
How the Rangers are ripping right there. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem for us anymore. It's a rule that you have to have your knee pads covered, and if you watch college football, everybody's got them above their knees, and the kids think that's cool. So some of our guys want to, look like the college guys, and the WIA says you can't do that. And it kind of depends on the officials you have. Some of the officials never say anything about it, but a lot of them do. And this crew was definitely, hey, you're not covering your knees, so they come out. So I'm pretty sure that won't happen again. There's going to be a lot of up downs, and it's a collective thing. The whole team will do them. If someone, if you have to come out, it's not a penalty. You just gotta
leave the field.
You gotta leave the field,
yep.
Just like if your helmet comes off. So, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna have that baby stop. I hope so. If not, we're gonna do a lot of up downs. Those guys aren't gonna like that much.
No, I don't think they will.
Yeah.
All right. So, the first thing we have to do after a big win is celebrate the big win. And the second thing we have to do is turn the page and move forward. So last year, in my opinion, the most exciting game we played at home against Rice Lake.
Yep.
A game that Rice Lake, all they have to do is score a touchdown, and it's pretty much over. Instead, the center snaps the ball up.
Yeah.
And then we come back, we tie it, then we win it.
Yep.
And now we go to their place, and I'm sure that they're remembering what happened. And they're a good outfit.
They're very good. They're good. They're going to be fired up. They're ticked off. This is their last shot at the middle border, right? And they're very well coached. And I would say, from what I can see of Rice Lake this year, they are a little bit different in that they throw it a lot better than they have. Good skill kids, good quarterback. To me, it looks like they spend even more time than they have in the past. They have some really nasty play actions that look a lot like their run plays, and so far they have just like people not even covering them. I mean, they're just running free, right. So that's concerning, so we know we have a big challenge with Rice Lake. And, like you said, the revenge factor, I think, I really believe that they expected to come into the middle border and really just
walk through it,
snowplow the thing. Yep. And not so much, and I would never say that about the staff, the coaching staff, because those guys they're not like that.
Right.
But I think there were a lot of people up there that were like, that's a joke. I know, because of course I'm from Rice Lake, and I'm up there at Long Lake a lot in the summer, and I hear things, and I just put that in the old bank and let the temperature rise a little. But I just use that for a little motivation for myself.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So they lost to Menominee.
They did.
And then they've won the last three. right now,
Yep.
they're 2-0 in conference, we're 2-0 in conference.
Right.
And a conference that you say every week, anybody can beat anybody.
It's a battle.
We're the 2 remaining undefeated teams.
Right.
So that'll be a huge game. We'll be there to broadcast. Fingers crossed that the signal works.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one that I've been looking forward to since last year.
It's going to be a big one. There's no question about it. It means a lot. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to them. I expect it's going to be a good game. It will be a competitive game. They're a unique team to stop because, like I said, they're an option team, so you have to be disciplined. And yet they also have that good play action stuff, and they do have skilled kids. Now they have a number of kids that are, we scrimmaged against them and we didn't get there. They had a couple kids that were injured during the scrimmage, and they're a good team. There's no doubt about that. And this will be a really good, I think, barometer for, where we're at. I think, there was an awful lot of hype around the Ellsworth game.
Right.
And, it just that game didn't materialize. I don't expect it to be an easy. I expect a 4-quarter game.
Right. So, moving past Friday night, we're doing this a day earlier. I got to coach a 7th grade game, so
Yep.
we can't talk about the coach's poll. We can't talk about the JV, the freshmen there on the road tonight.
Yep.
But what we can talk about is the days after the Friday night game. So, Saturday, you're probably sitting in a spot similar to this with that TV on, watching the Badgers.
Yeah, that was tough.
Well, what do you make of that one?
That was disappointing. I was I didn't think I don't think anybody would say the Badgers were like super sharp in their win over Buffalo week 1.
Correct.
And that the first half against Washington State, we just didn't look like we were
ready to play football.
No, I didn't understand a lot of it. It just didn't seem like we were ready. Didn't understand the plan on offense, nor did I understand the plan on defense. Those guys are a lot smarter than I am. I don't know what's going on, but it was frustrating because you had the sense that they could play better. And obviously in the third quarter, they did change some things up. They finally started putting a little pressure on I think it's Cam Ward, right?
Yep.
And he's a very good quarterback. I think Washington State's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
It's a team Wisconsin should have been able to beat, but you had those 2 strip sacks, and that can't happen.
Right.
And one directly led to a touchdown. So.
Right.
Then the fumble in the second half, the Malusi fumble, I don't know. It looked like
down, but
I thought he was down, but
right.
I guess I'm maybe looking at it through Badger colored glasses. I had the sense they were going to come back when it was 24-22, but that turnover, and then they couldn't get the stop when it mattered most. That was the most troubling part of the Badger game for me, was they didn't get that stop. I thought Mordecai looked better.
Yeah, well, he didn't look very good the first game.
He looked better though, I thought.
Yeah.
You can tell he's going to be all right. But they just a little concerned about the O-line, and I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so then we go into Sunday.
Sunday was very therapeutic.
First, we're going to watch the Vikings play the Bucs, the Baker Mayfield-led Bucs, and that didn't go well for their offensive line is not good.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that game. We were meeting, getting ready for this Rice Lake stuff before the Packer game.
It was bad.
Yeah, I heard. Wish I would have enjoyed that.
Yep.
Being a Packer fan. But,
and so Packers are going to kick off at 3:25. The Jordan Love era starts.
Yeah.
We talked about the changing of the guards. We went from Mason to Cal, and it's like, how's that going to go? So far, so good.
So far.
And the Rodgers to Love. And how did that go yesterday?
Let's keep the trends going the way they are. Jordan Love looked really good. He did. And also exciting was that their best receiver, possibly Christian Watson, didn't play.
Right.
I think that Reed 11 is going to be I think he's going to be a player for the Packers, which is good. And I really was thrilled with their D-line just looked a lot better. That Carl Brooks looked good. Devontae Wyatt, their first-round draft pick from last year, made a couple of really nice plays. And then Colby Wooden had a couple nice plays too. So, to me, I look at the Pack and they used to trot out Dean Lowry and Tyler Lancaster, right? And those guys were okay. They were kind of space eater. These guys are different. Right. So that's exciting. So we'll see. It's one game, and
we watched it. Was it last year? The Saints was that 2 years ago? The Saints absolutely destroyed them in the first.
Right. Game. Yeah. It's 1 week. So the cliche is it's overreaction. Everybody's got their take, but
But did you see the stat that Jordan Love has thrown the same amount of 3 touchdown games as Aaron Rodgers has the last 2 years?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And
I also heard that the Packers last year did not score 38 points. They only did one time the whole year, and they had a defensive touchdown and a special teams touchdown that day.
Yeah.
So that bodes well, I think. We'll see. I think the Packer O-line's pretty good, and that gives a quarterback a chance to be successful. You can ask Cal Smith about that, and he'll tell you, yeah, it's pretty helpful when you don't get hit.
Right. When you can stay on schedule and do the things you practice, that makes throwing football a whole lot easier unless you're Patrick Mahomes. It always looks easy.
Yeah. I do think the Rice Lake game, one of the keys will be running the ball. It won't just be airing it out all over. I mean, you got to run it. So.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, you do. You do. We're going to be running it.
I mean, the bubble's like a long handoff.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. It kind of, honestly, it does depend on how they line up. So,
right.
Yeah.
But we'll see on Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Badgers play Saturday, or are they off? Do they get a
No, the Badgers play Friday.
Oh, they play Friday?
Or no, the Badgers play Saturday.
And the Packers play Sunday. So we'll have another weekend to have a great weekend. I mean, there's football's back all weekend, so there's nothing better in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back on Friday night from Rice Lake. We'll do our best to broadcast from there. I'm Jeremy Niagara. This was Coach Keefer. This was Keefer's Corner, and we will see you next week.